welcome to another live episode. I am your host, WIZE, and I'm excited to have this gentleman on. He's a Maxwell coach, speaker, and I love his story because it's very unique. So let's welcome to the show, Sammy Farrens.
Hey, how you doing today?
Oh, brother, I'm excited. I'm excited to have this conversation because when I read your bio and how you build up your follow is how you found your purpose and build up your following in one set and one thing, and it's a great story. So, all right, Sammy. So, let's start off. Let's tell us something about your background and how you got started in coaching and speaking.
So my background is I'm a small town boy. Grew up with a mom that was in a wheelchair that had polio, and she really taught us throughout our life. And when I say us, there was always 15 or 20 people at our house. So whether I wanted to be or not, I am an extrovert. I need people around me. But with that being said, she always just gave. She gave her love, gave her heart, gave the last $2. I grew up poor, but that to her wasn't a thing. It was, yeah, we ain't got much food, but what we got, hey, come over, And while all that's great, and as a kid growing up, I don't think we really learned the lessons that sometimes our parents are really pushing in our head. And I learned her ultimate lesson when I was holding her hand when she passed away. And that was the gift of gratitude, because that's how she lived her life. And that's the lesson she taught us was, yeah, I'm in a wheelchair, but guess what? I got to live a life that you guys didn't. I got to do things that you didn't. I got to experience things that most people never experience. And it was such a unique way of looking at life. And then I learned that when I held her hand when she passed away, because in that moment, mom could walk. Mom could run. Now she can experience everything that we just kind of take for granted every day. And so that was her ultimate gift to me, and that's what kind of started my mindset into this. What is gratitude, and why gratitude, and what can it do for me? And so I started the personal development stuff and reading and just how can I grow myself physically, mentally, and the whole deal. And that led into the John Maxwell stuff. It was just, it really is true. You surround yourself with great people and you become that great person. And so I'm always striving for more great people. I think I found another one right here, pretty sure. You're up in the mountains, so you're already my guy. So,
No, I'm exactly like you. I'm on this self-development journey and growth, and to be able to do these interviews has helped me learn a lot within the last 3 years, and has helped me grow as an individual, as a father, as a husband, as a brother, as a friend, because you start connecting with some amazing people. And it's the relationships that you build. It's these relationships that you build that'll help you get to that next level. That'll help you continue to grow and continue to attract the people that are gonna help you on this path. Because no one's gonna complete this path, this journey by themselves. We got to be here to help each other out and have each other's back. And so me being able to do this, I've really been fortunate and blessed to have some amazing people come into my life and help me grow and help me see through with my vision, through with my purpose. Just help me see my purpose and be able to share it with the world.
Yeah. It's a thing that most people don't realize that what happens, but it's through our stories is how we help other people. It's how we achieve more success in our own life. But at the same time, you take somebody that's an alcoholic and they go to AA. Well, who are they looking for help? People that have been through that story. That's our biggest per se mishaps or negative things or bad things that have happened in our life. That's part of our story. And instead of us living that life, it's, hey, let me give you my story so that you can learn from it and move on past it just like I did. Yeah. And that's, to me, that's success. That's the ultimate.
It's for me. I like. I didn't want to. For some reason, I didn't want to share my story. And the more and more I interviewed people and they shared their story, and I got to speak to them and they got to hear my story, they're like, "Dude, you need to share that. That story needs to be out there. Because there's people that have been through what you've been through, and they didn't get they weren't strong enough to get through it. So you need to be able to you need to share." So once I started sharing my story, it sunk in that that's part of my purpose is to share my story, is to share
Oh,
the things that I've gone through in my life, and just be able to, if someone can take anything from what I share or with whatever one of my guests share, that to me is success.
yep.
Being able to make an impact in one person's life. But I've been blessed now to be making an impact on more than one person's life because my podcast is growing and people are listening, and I'm having some great guests. So to be able to know that I'm making this impact, making this change, and helping people develop and grow, there's no greater feeling that
Yeah.
this great accomplishment within yourself. And it doesn't have to me. It's not. I don't have to be making all this. It's being able to make that impact.
Yeah. Well, and it's what you, and you got ready to say it's not about money, but the cool part is as you make the impact, the money comes. And I always invite people to embrace that money, because when you come from a good place, a good heart, which, again, we're just getting to know each other, but I can already see that you're my people. You're my guy.
Yeah.
And so, hey, this guy, man, hey, let's hook him up with some money, because I know it's going to go in a good direction. It's going to be done with great things. So no, man, I love that. I love it.
Bro, when I first started my podcast, I had gotten furloughed from work, and we was making extra money, whatever, and I could have even easily just spent it on junk and stuff, and but what I focused on was developing myself. I spent it on courses. I spent it on equipment. Because once I figured podcasting is what I wanted to do, that it wasn't just a hobby. This is something that has driven me to want to be great because I love doing this.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
and so I decided to invest in myself.
Boom. That's the best investment anybody on this planet can make.
Yeah,
But it's a scary one.
of course.
Yeah. Oh
Because
yeah.
we're taught, yeah, we're taught to be afraid. We're taught that, oh, you don't, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna succeed. You can't do that. And it's the programming that we've gone through for years, and to be able to s- to step out of my comfort zone and take that leap and be like, you know what, I'm gonna. Because for I had the equipment in my house for over a year before I even really launched my podcast. But it was me making up excuses, like,
Yeah.
oh man, who's gonna want to listen to me? What's my topic? Like, I just stuck. That's where stuck in my mind came from, because I was stuck in my head with excuses of why I shouldn't start my podcast until I finally decided to press record and upload it.
There we go. I love the name, and now hearing the story behind the name. Yeah. Oh man, that's just that's awesome. That is awesome. So no.
So what inspired you to really get into coaching?
uh TikTok.
Yeah, it's a weird story you have there. So you wanted to go into coaching to show business and entrepreneurship and stuff like that, but TikTok showed you what your true path lies in.
It did. Yeah, I've had my own construction company for 13 years now, And, you start doing the development stuff and all. And oh man, I'm going to do a TikTok. I'm going to start doing TikToks. And I love doing videos anyway. And so I said, oh, I'm going to put sales and, business mindset and all that. And the mental health community is what reached out to me, not the business people, not sales or any of that. It was people reaching out saying, hey, dude, thank you for the video. I was in a state of depression and you helped me get out of it. Or, I watch your videos and my anxiety, lowers and just stuff like that. And I'm like, what? I mean, initially is like, what? That's not right. That's I was talking about a sales process. What are you talking? But what I found out was what I was really talking about was a positive mindset, and I think what kind of put me over the edge was a gentleman messaged me there on TikTok. He private messaged me, and he said, dude, I've sat here for the last, I think he said 9 hours, and I've rewatched your videos. And I just wanted to tell you that you helped me take the gun out of my mouth because I was going to end myself tonight. And right then, I mean, me personally, I was sitting right where I'm sitting right now, and I broke down and cried and just said, man, am I really making that kind of an impact on somebody that they're not pulling the trigger? And I knew then, I said, okay, this is my purpose. This is what I was meant to do. And dude, it's been a blessing ever since. It has been a total blessing just to help people not pull that trigger. It's a huge thing in my life, and the gratitude part of it is what I have to thank for it. So yeah, so that's kind of how I got to where I'm at right now.
No, it's an amazing story, man. Definitely, because like you going with this purpose that, oh, this is what it's gonna be, and life has a funny way of making things work in the way they're supposed to work, and the way that that's supposed to go. And so, because even with me, like I was having such a great time doing my podcast, but it was all over the place. I wasn't really. So when I decided within the last year to really focus down on, this is the niche I want to talk to. I want to talk to coaches. Mindset. I want people to come on and talk about development, mindset, and all this. That's when it really started to pick up, because now I set and focus what my purpose truly was. This is what I want. I want to help people develop and grow. And so once I did that, the right guests started coming to me, the right people. Because at first it was a struggle to get guests to come on my show, and then I found Podmatch. I love using Podmatch.
Oh yeah, me too.
But in the process, I've also had people reach out to me and say, "Hey, I want to be on your show." Like, I'm a big secret guy. I love the secret. And when Bob Doyle, the people that book him on shows, reached out to me and said, "Hey, Bob Doyle would love to be a guest on your show," it blew my mind, because again, like I said, this is someone I love the secret. He played a big part in it. I stay watching his Facebook groups, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan of his, and to be able to sit down and speak to him and have a great conversation with him and actually learn about brain rewiring and all this other stuff, it was an amazing experience.
Yeah. No, and that's and what you just explained was success has got a funny way of working in our lives. If you chase it, it runs away. If you live it, it will find you. And it really is. It's we overcomplicate it. And it's that little voice in our head that wants to overcomplicate it. And we'll make up the excuses why we can't. And then you start just like you did, man. And you start and you niche it down. You say, okay, here's my purpose. And then that purpose will find you. Like your brain, the universe wants you to be successful. It wants you to have everything that you've ever dreamt of. But you still have to put in the action, and it'll give it to you. It may not be in the exact way you want it or in the exact order, but it's going to give it to you. It will find a way to give you what you, as so many like to say, deserve. And that deserve part is, what work have you really put in? What actions have you really put in? What have you really strived for? And then all of a sudden those things start coming to you. The whole manifestation thing, vision boards and stuff like that, man. I'm big on that kind of stuff. The energy flow. I love energy. Like that's a huge thing for me. And it's all true. And but I didn't think so. I grew up poor. I grew up not around entrepreneurs. The richest person I knew made $14 an hour.
Yeah.
And so for me to now I'm in an elite group of a mastermind that's got nothing but millionaires and billionaires in it. And the crazy part is everything I was ever taught about rich people couldn't be further from the truth. And I've never seen so many people want to give, not money, but their knowledge and their time. And what can I do to help you succeed?
Yeah.
And it's amazing, but it'll give you what you want. You just
it's when you switch that mindset from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, where you're able to start attracting the people that are going to help you to your next state. I've been blessed. I'm learning from one of the best producers of podcasts out there. And this man has showed me so much in the year that I've been working with him. And he could easily charge me, because that's how gifted he is and skillful he is. But he sees me put in the work. And when people see you put in the work, they want to help you. They want to help develop you. They want to help you grow, because that's where they get their joy from, is being able to help someone develop and see them progress in a direction that's positive.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's fulfilling. I mean, I was on another show and a gentleman asked me, he said, we were talking about some different topics, and he says, well, Sammy, it sounds like you give a lot away. Like you're giving away all these secrets and these, different things to do and all. And I said, dude, for me, it works like this. I'm not really giving anything away. I'm just transferring what I found out or what I learned. So for me, I'm not giving it. I'm transferring it to somebody else that needs it more than I do right now. And if you look at it like that, it changes your whole perspective on what life is truly about.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about stories. You're transferring your story over to somebody that needs it more than you right now. But you had to go through it to get the story. No matter how good or bad or crazy, whatever it was, dude, I went through it. So now let me help you get to where you can go through it. Yeah. I know multimillionaires that were in prison for 10 years, and at the same time, I know guys that were in prison 10 years that say the whole world's against me. I can't, I'm screwed. I'll never become anything.
Yeah.
Well, dude, what are you doing to change? It's a perspective thing. It's a mindset thing. The cool part that I really that I fell in love with the mind is it can only be one of two things. And it's so simple. It can only be positive or negative. Like there is nothing else. That's the way the mind works. There's no getting around it. You can only be positive or negative. And it's always your choice. So now it's not saying that nothing bad's ever going to happen to you.
No, that wouldn't be life. Life happens.
But it's a matter of, if you really pay attention. I had a flat tire a few weeks ago, and in that moment 5 years ago, the Sammy would have got out of the truck and he'd have been cussing and hollering, and it was everybody else's fault, and I probably would have hung on to that anger for the rest of the day and probably for the next week on how stupid, and now this tire costs so much, and this is ridiculous, and it's not my fault, and I would have went on and on and on. A month ago, I got out of that truck and I looked and I said, man, I am so grateful that I've got a spare tire. I'm so grateful I've got a jack that works. And I am so grateful that I know how to change a tire. So I don't have to wait on anybody to come do it.
Yeah.
Was it a bad thing? Did it suck? Yeah. The tire cost me $200 and some. That's because they're a ripoff, but different podcast. But it was, in that moment, I had one or two choices. I could get out and be all mad and pissed off, or I could get out and go, well, all right, this stinks, but I got it. I can handle it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, what made you go into because I just had another guest on who also did the John Maxwell course as well. And I'm looking into doing it as well. What made you choose that course? She had her reasons. What made you feel like that was the course for you?
I like John's concept on things because he does everything from the Bible. Like all of his leadership, the 87 books that he's wrote, literally 87, they're all leadership and different, mainly leadership focused, but they're also all Bible focused. And I really appreciate that about him. He didn't start off to do this for money, for the wrong reasons. Again, you put money in the right hand, in the right people's hands, and it goes to doing great things. So I appreciate that with John and his company and corporation that they're doing that. Me personally, why I chose John was almost on, I don't know how to explain it, not an accident, but I went to a meeting and a lady was there who was John Maxwell certified and all. And she was talking about the John Maxwell stuff and all. And she asked me if I knew him. And I said, yeah, I've read a few of his books. And she said, oh yeah. She said, well, I get to speak under John Maxwell. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm just, you should join John Maxwell. That way you could speak under him because, you're a good speaker and this and that. And I said, whoa. And I remember I told this girl this. I said, hey, that's cool. I'm glad that's your story, your message. Go do you. I don't want to speak under John Maxwell. I want John Maxwell to hand me the mic. And then it was like a thing flipped in my head. And I was like, well, the only way that I'm getting John Maxwell to hand me that mic is to go after perfection and greatness like John Maxwell. And who better to teach me than John Maxwell? So that's roundabout story, but that's that's kind of, and I've actually, and anybody wondering about manifestation and stuff like that, I manifested standing on the stage. I visualized it, everything. 3 years later, I was standing on a John Maxwell stage.
Wow.
Yeah. I will say he didn't hand me the mic. Somebody else did, but I was standing on a John Maxwell stage. So that manifestation stuff, manifestation stuff, boy, it really works.
No, it is funny because people, when they don't, they go, oh man, I'm trying to manifest, but are you putting in the work? Like you just want to, of course, yeah, it's great to put it out there, but you also have to put in the work. You have to 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 put in the work so your mind can start making it happen, so it can start making it happen in your life. But if you don't put in the work, it's not going to happen. If
Yeah.
you don't go and take the John Maxwell course, you don't end up on the John Maxwell stage.
And the other thing is and I understand this is the society we live in now. Well, Sammy, I went and joined John Maxwell. Why didn't I get up on his stage? Well, dude, you joined 2 weeks ago. Like,
You want instant gratification.
Oh man, we want it now. We want it now. And it's like, dude, I literally manifested that. When I do my visualization stuff and my manifestations, it's for me, I almost go into a trance. And I do the elongated, whatever you want to call it, trance once a day. Like I sat here in this room and I go into almost like a zombie mode. But when I'm in that mode, like doing the speaking thing with John Maxwell, I could see myself walking out on stage. I knew what suit I was wearing. I could see my tie. I could feel like the air on my skin. I could see the microphone as it was being handed to me. Like you go as deep, because your brain, that's the other cool thing about the brain is once you go that deep, it's real. Like your mind doesn't know the difference between a dream and reality. That's why I always tell people, make your dream your reality. Because your mind already has. It doesn't know the difference. So, but now I did that day after day after day, and it took 3 years. Okay, cool. Was it worth it? Yeah. Was way worth it. So it's, great. Do the vision boards, do the manifestation, but understand it takes time. You're growing this podcast. Someday you're going to be number one in the mindset category, but it's going to take time, and it's like you said, as long as you're willing to put in the actions and continue and stay consistent, and do the things that have to be done, it happens. You just got to keep striving for it. Keep going. There's going to be crappy days, but there's going to be a lot of good days too.
Yeah.
So
it is. There is. You have to go through the struggle. Like you have to go through the struggle to get to where you want to go, and it hasn't been easy to build this up. It's taken, like, my first 2.5 years. I had over 8,000 downloads. Within the last 6 months, it's really I've reached that goal. I've hit over 8,000 downloads. So 2.5 years, 8,000 downloads. The last 6 months, almost 10,000 downloads.
Oh yeah.
And it has a lot to do with my mindset, on me wanting to improve as a podcaster, and it's me learning from my friend Cole on how to really structure a show, how to really create a show, to where you can see it now in the production side of it.
Yeah.
And so when you see that happening, it's like, all right, you got this. Just keep doing. Just keep setting these goals. Keep putting them up there and keep knocking them out. But it's crazy because people start making these outrageous goals sometimes, and then disappoint themselves when they don't reach these goals, especially when they're crazy goals that they had no chance at making. So one thing I tell a lot when I talk to people about it is, set realistic goals. Set something like, don't come out and say, I want 1 million downloads, when you start your podcast, because it's not going to happen. Nobody knows you.
Yeah.
No one knows you. Nobody knows who you are. They don't know if you know what you're talking about. So it's going to take time for you to build that relationship with your audience. And then once they start getting comfortable, they'll start sharing, oh, you need to check out this podcast. It's a great guy. Check it out. Some great content.
Yeah.
And then that's how it happens.
See, and I agree with you almost on everything. I'm gonna do a little disagree here. I'm big on the scary goals, the monstrosity, holy crap, that can't be real goals. But I don't call them goals. I call them missions.
Okay.
Being military background, everything's mission focused. Missions have to be done. No ifs, ands, or buts, no excuses. They have to be done. But you still have to be realistic about it, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And it's, hey, I'm going to start a podcast and I want to get 1 million downloads. Okay. What's the timeline on that? Well, 3 months. All right. Probably not realistic. Yeah. How about 3 years? Well, that's realistic. So what's your goal for 3 months? What's a realistic goal? Like, keep the big goal, keep the big mission. Like, the mission is to get 1 million. But how do I get there, and what's the realistic timeline, on something like that? But keep that big goal, like, because that's what the brain wants to strive for is, like you're at, what'd you say? How many downloads?
Now I'm at 19,000.
19,000. So somewhere in your brain, sometime, I'm sure that at least once you've thought, man, it would be so cool if I got 1 million downloads. Like, that would be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But it wasn't but then you put a realistic time on it. You would put a realistic, like, all right, well, that's not happening, because Sammy Farrens is on, but you gave yourself a reality check on it. But it's still the mission. The mission is, hey, I want that. Have you ever heard of Alex Hormozy?
No.
Okay. Well, I would recommend go look him up, and after this, I'll send you his information or whatever. I listened to a lot of his podcasts. He started his podcast in 2015, and it's literally just this year that it hit number 1. We're 8 years later, and it's now, okay, boom, it's number 1. And with that number 1 status, so many people are finding him, and what are they saying to him? Dude, you're an overnight success. Oh my God, how awesome. That's amazing. I don't know who you are, but now I do, and you're awesome, and you're an overnight success. He's like, I've been doing this dang podcast for 8 years.
Yeah.
So it's, hey, I want to get number 1 on the list. What's the realistic timeline? And go after that totally outrageous, blow your mind kind of thing.
It's possible. It is possible.
Oh,
I've reached the top 10 in entrepreneurship and mentorship.
Very possible.
Cool. And so there's times where those numbers, you're like, wow. And believe me, I didn't, when I hit the top 10, I was like, oh my God. I was like, what's going on here? Is this really happening? Because you don't think of it as, when I was just doing it to do it. And then when I found out, like, all right, I'm pretty good. I can do this. All right. I'm having some great conversations. And when you see an accomplishment like that, it's like, okay. You start feeling yourself a little because you got to celebrate some of these wins.
Oh,
you got to be able to celebrate and enjoy that you reached the top of a certain list or whatever it is that whatever accomplishment you get.
Oh, I more than agree. Like you, and that's why you set up okay, hey, what's the 5-year goal? Oh, it's 1 million downloads or be number 1. And then it's, okay, what's the 3-year and 2-year? And that's why you should set them up, that way. And then it is just to celebrate, just to give yourself, even if it's sometimes it's just damn, dude, you're awesome. Like that's your celebration for that moment. Now,
Yeah.
okay, that's cool. Or it's take yourself out to a steak dinner that night. I would prefer the steak dinner, but you know, but yeah, it is, man. The only way you'll get to the overly extreme major accomplishments is by celebrating on the way. Because if not, your mind goes, well, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
You
And
know,
and I had to learn that. I had to learn that. I have my nephew, who's my partner, he would be like, "Your dude, it's okay to celebrate, man. It's okay to toot your horn sometimes. It's okay for you to just let people know, like, yo, you're the shit." It's
yeah,
because you need to celebrate. You need to be able to acknowledge that, hey, I've come a long way. I've done some stuff that I didn't even believe I could do.
hmm and
So
here's the crazy part. Where, and if I was to assume, which is what I'm going to do, probably the reason that you didn't feel okay doing it is with the judgment that was behind it. The well, if I celebrate, people are going to talk and people are going to think I'm full of myself, and people are going to say things, and I don't want that. I don't want that reputation.
yeah,
And so our mind's telling us don't celebrate because you don't want to be judged by others. But the reality is you want to be judged, because here's what I say about judgment. Good, judge me. Either way, you're going to judge me. I'd
mhm,
rather you judge me on something great that I did than something that I failed at. You know, so judge away. That most times that's what holds. That's the sad part, is that's the biggest thing that holds people back from success. Money, all of it. I didn't know until I got into personal development and success and being around people of wealth. Up One of the top three things that most people are most scared of is money. And it's the way we've been raised. It's the way we've been taught. It's the way our school system is. You
we're
know,
not taught about money. We're not. That's not something we're taught
no,
about. We're not taught
mm-mm.
how to balance checkbooks. We're not taught about investments. We're not taught about any of that. We're taught to go into get yourself a 9 to 5, work 30, 40 years, and
Get your
and
gold
that's it.
watch.
And then, yeah, and they don't even give that anymore. Like a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people, like back in the day, probably when we were growing up, we knew people that would work at a job for 30, 40 years, retire with a pension, but that's unheard of now. Not
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of people. A lot of people retire from someplace after 30, 40 years. 'Cause then they don't have any, they no longer have those benefits of, oh, when I retire, I got my golden egg and my nest egg and all this. And now it's the system is designed and built for you to keep working
hmm
till you're ready to kick the bucket.
Yeah. And it's really always been designed that way. If
Yeah.
you really look at our school system, that's the way it's always been designed. Um, college is, unless you are going to college for a specific high level, degree, a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, something like that. College is a joke. Like school teachers is the biggest ripoff, and I hate it for them, because to become a school teacher, what do you got to do? You got to go to college.
Yeah.
So, hey, I want you to go to college. We're going to charge you $150,000 or whatever, so that we can pay you $35,000 a year.
Hmm.
I mean, holy crap! What jacked up damn system is that?
Yeah.
It is. It's, and like you said, we're not taught about money. I know,
I
literally,
wasn't.
when I
Yeah.
say, yeah, the richest person in my life growing up made $14 an hour.
Yeah.
And man, I thought they was, whew, holy crap, this is ungodly. This is unbelievable. You know, now I'm like, whoa, man, what a narrow mindset, you
Yeah.
know. So, but thank goodness we grow up and we go on our own paths.
Yeah. Yeah. It took us some time to learn these lessons, but we're on that path, and now like our goal now is to share it with everyone else. Is to help everyone else
Yep.
along the way.
Yep. Totally agree.
But Sammy, this has been great. I love the conversation. This has been a blast. Now you get the solo screen. You get to promote where they can find you, your TikTok, your YouTube, everything.
All righty. Yep. Feel free. You go over best way to get a hold to me for the coaching or speaking engagements. If you want to order the book, I've got a book coming out. Should be out hopefully by the 11th of May here. Broken Gratitude. You can do all that by going to discovermentaledge.com. You can go over to my TikTok. It's Mental Edge. Or let's see, where's the other great place? Probably Instagram. And on there, I'm the _Sammy J. And those are my big spots.
All right, but thank you so much for being a guest, Sammy.
Yep.
When I guess when we could definitely have you back on to come promote the book, man, when you have it out.
Yeah. Well, here, and I've been saying this. I've literally been saying for 3 weeks, well, I hope the book comes out this week. And here's what I must tell everybody. If you've ever wanted to write a book, please do it. It's really an amazing, for me, it was an amazing experience. I've already started writing 2 more. I absolutely fell in love with it. The writing part, I fell in love with. The whole publishing part, when this all started, I had hair down past my shoulder. and I didn't get a haircut. This is just where it ended up. I tell you, it has been stressful. But it's like anything, man. You go through the storm to get to the beautiful rainbow. And, fingers crossed that rainbow is going to be here by Friday. And I'll actually be able to say, I am a published author now.
Oh no, I know the process. We self-published my nephew's book last year, and it was a great experience to be able to help him get that out. But yeah, it was work. It was work to get it done. It was, but now it's like he's like he's pushing me to. It's my turn.
Yeah. Dude, it's you get to tell your story, or you get to write about whatever. But
Yeah.
To me, I did it. Mine's it's a short book. It's only like 50 some pages, and it's all about how to live a life of gratitude and put yourself first in that life, and understand that you're going to have the mindset of this is selfish by putting myself first, and you're going to get told that you're selfish for putting yourself first over your kids and your wife and your mom and dad. And that's good. Live a selfish life, because at the end of the day, the more full you are of gratitude and the more fulfilled you are, the more you get to give. So if that's selfish, well, then call me selfish, because I'm going to give as much as I can get, and, but it's just the stories, and then it's a solution to how to eliminate the word can't from your vocabulary, and you will find more gratitude in your life just by eliminating that one word.
So did you get some of the stories from your followers on TikTok, or how did they influence you with writing the book?
The TikTokers, they influenced me literally just by going, dude, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. And it was because I go live on TikTok 2 or 3 times a week, and it was a constant, when people start telling you over and over and over, you start thinking, well, okay, maybe that is something, and then I kind of started playing a game with it. I'm like, all right, guys, you want me to write a book? What should I write about? And it was everything from mindset to, how to, how to live a more fulfilled life, and, how to help people through suicide, because that's a lot of what my videos talk about. I say this a lot: become your badass self. And they were like, dude, just write a book about becoming your badass self. And I had a guy one night, we were talking, I had brought him on the screen kind of like this. And we got to talking about my mom and her passing away and the gratitude it brought me in my life and all. And he goes, dude, that's the book you need to write. He's like, you need to write about gratitude because you give all of us gratitude in our lives. And it's that overflowing feeling that we get from you every time you're on. And so that's where it comes. Yep, that danged old TikTok.
But Sammy, this has been great, man. Greatly appreciate you being on the show, brother.
No, I appreciate you having me, man. I look forward to the next one. Yeah.
Definitely. But don't leave just yet. Let me just close out the show and you can chat a little bit off the air.
Sounds good.
All right. So now it is time for shout outs. Big shout out to my Real Wise fam, Bobby J, Brandy J. Love you guys. Big shout out to the boss lady Fina. Greatly appreciate you, baby. Thank you for all you do for me. Big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all. Be safe. And God bless and be safe to everybody who tuned in on the show today. Greatly appreciate your support. Check us out next week. And again, big shout out to my man Sammy Farrens for coming through and sharing the story, man. This has been great. You know how your boy Wise does it. Peace out.